It Local, the podcast all about the football community in South Australia. I'm your host, Johnny Keko. And in today's episode, part 3 of WNPL preview with the clubs, the final part of the preview, I'll be chatting with Metro United's head coach, Paul Morris, Fulham United's Georgina Toome and Laura Niejalke, Football SA's NTC head coach, Michele Lastella. But first, I'll be chatting with Salisbury Inter's head coach, Tony Scalzi, and co-captain, Nicole Calder. Let's head into part 3 of WNPL preview with the club. I'm down here with Salisbury Inter's head coach and one of the co-captains of the club, Tony Scalzi and Nicole Calder. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you also for having me.
It's looking forward to chatting to you both. A big season ahead for the club and a big season ahead for women's football. Women's World Cup is going to be coming to our shores. What's the importance, Tony? I'll talk to you first about this one. What's the importance of this tournament being on home soil, and what legacy do you hope that you and the club can get out of this?
It was actually fantastic to have a world class event in your backyard, and I encourage every single girl to get out there and watch the professionals all over the world, what it takes to be a professional and to get to that level. So it's fantastic for the game. It's fantastic for all the local clubs to get off the next level, because the women's game at the moment's in a good space. It's come a long way the last 6, 7, 8 years, and it probably can go another 2, 3 steps just by having a World Cup and marketing this in the right direction, which they have been, and everyone's talking about it. You hear about it, so it's a good buzz around the place. You know, we're all excited, the players excited, so it's a win-win for everybody. Yeah.
Nicole, it's this season is something different. You're going to be breaking for the World Cup. It's only one of the only states that are doing this. How do you feel as a player to have that break and go to some games as well?
I think it's fantastic, and I know that I'm taking every opportunity to go see as many games as possible, heading over to New Zealand for a week to see a couple of games. And I just think, as what Tony was saying, that it's fantastic to have this in your backyard. It'll never happen again in our lifetime, probably. I hope that it will grow women's participation in soccer and also grow in the investment in the women's sport as more exposure happens.
Tony, you're heading into your first season as a head coach at Salisbury Inter, but the league's heading into its second year as a 10-team competition. How do you feel about this change that's happened to the league in the last couple of years, and what do you think it's done with bridging the gap between WNPL and WSL?
To be honest, it's been a while. Having 10 teams should be a minimum, so it's fantastic. And credit to the federation. They've done a lot of hard work behind the scenes to get to 10 teams, because it was only 8 years ago. It was a 2 or 3 team competition, but the gap is getting closer. Week by week, you don't know who's going to beat who, which is credit to everybody. 1 to 10, and I'm actually aiming for, or hopefully they aim for, to put another 2 teams in. So it'd be good to have a 12-team league, and it'd be fantastic. And you play each other twice, and correspond with the NPL. It'd be fantastic. So they're doing a great job, and I think it's come a long way. And that's, like I said, it's credit to the not so much federation, yes, and also to the clubs. Clubs pushing to get players. It's not easy, even at Salisbury Inter, girls like Bianca and Tam trying to get the club going, and see girls everywhere, which is good from the local community. So it's fantastic.
We've seen a lot of change in local women's football. We've also seen a bit of change in a positive way with the A-League women as well. This season, their league is finishing a little bit later, which means some of the teams are going to be out without some of the big players. How's that changed things for you heading into the first few rounds of the WNPL?
Yeah, well, basically, it's a good thing for the competition, but I think it's great for the players that want to go to the next level. So there's opportunities for them to step up the mark. But bringing back the W League players, it does boost all clubs, all teams. It should be more evened out across the board. That way, it's an even playing field. Because sometimes one club gets more, one club gets less, and that makes it a bit hard. But if they distribute in an even direction, I think it's great. It's fantastic for everybody, for all clubs, the players. They keep playing off season, and credit to them again. From an 8 game competition originally was, now it's up to 14, 15, 16, whatever rounds they're playing in the W League. So they're slowly getting bigger and bigger, and it just shows you it's growing. So it's fantastic.
You're heading into your first season, as we mentioned. What should we expect from you as a coach at Salisbury Inter, and who is someone we should look out for in your squad this year?
On my behalf, coming the first year at Salisbury Inter, I had 12 months off due to a few reasons, but it's another challenge in my chapter, and it's just it's exciting for myself and my assistant coaches. and you should look out for all the teams, all my players. There's some great young players coming through the ranks. We've got 3-4 great experienced players, and across the board, and I was speaking to Nicole and Chantel, the leadership group, to be honest, the group is pretty even. That's how I like it. It's not a massive gap, and we've got some great young players, as you witnessed tonight, and they're hungry to go the next level, and I'm here to guide them with the leadership group. That's all we can do. To pinpoint the names, you find out yourself, you go and you can tell me later, but across the board, they're pretty even. With a good leadership group, I haven't got a problem, so yeah.
Nicole, you're on the leadership group alongside Chantel Ryder. She was out from injury last season. How are you looking forward to being alongside her as a co-captain this year?
Well, she's basically my twin, so I'm excited to have my twin back and so that everyone can get us mixed up on the field and off the field again. But she just adds a wealth of experience and composure at the back there. And I think that, we combine really well. It stabilises the team a lot, so it's really exciting to have her coming back, hopefully in a couple of months.
You're heading to the World Cup in July. Can't wait for it to kick off. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to the most?
Probably watching England play, to be honest. I've been watching quite a bit of the Women's Super League, and the standard over there has just increased massively over the past couple of years. Again, I think a lot of that is due to the investment that has been put into the women's game, and the more investment, the more opportunities, the better the standard of the game grows. And we're seeing that in the WNPL with teams investing in players, clubs investing in players, and really valuing the women's game.
And Tony, what about yourself? What do you look forward to most about the Women's World Cup on our shores this year?
Like I said, Nicole hit the nail on the head. The European clubs, all of a sudden, they've come out of the ranks the last few years, and they've really stepped it up. Years ago, it was just USA and the Matildas, only 2-3 countries that dominated, but now it's across the world. It's great to watch, from Spain to England and all the big clubs, and it's good for even as coaches to go and have a look to see what they're doing. And to see what that you can bring back to your own backyard. So just feed off each other, and hopefully we can all grow as a unit.
So thank you for joining me, Tony, and good luck in your first season as head coach at Inter.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me again. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole, as well, and good luck this season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having both of us.
That was Nicole Calder and Tony Scalzi. I'm joined by the head coach of Metro United, Paul Morris. Thank you for joining me, Paul.
Oh, thanks, Johnny. Thanks for the opportunity.
It's this year is a big year for women's football. Metro United is very well known for promoting the women's game, and we are looking forward to the Women's World Cup being on our shore. How important is this tournament being here in Australia this year? What legacy does your club hope to come from it?
It's a massive year for football in Australia, certainly women's football. With the World Cup coming here, it's first time on our shores. It'll be massive to promote the game, the women's game around Australia, but certainly in South Australia where we're continuing to grow, we have some challenges around the growth of women's EFL in South Australia, but this will certainly help us attract those players back that we have lost to the EFL game. But the growth of the younger kids coming through, to see the stars that are out there, the Sam Kerrs and the Ellie Carpenters of the world that have played and developed through the women's game in Australia. So for us, it's a great opportunity for the legacy that we bring. So we hope it maintains and, as I said, maintains and grows women's football. But also the infrastructure that's coming in place, the growth that it's giving us is a great opportunity for the women's football to continue to grow and develop in South Australia and around Australia.
With the Women's World Cup here, we will see the league stop for a few weeks so people can go and enjoy the game. How have you taken this new feature to the season this year?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we'll play 16 rounds and then it'll stop for 3 rounds, and then for the group stages. So it's good, gives everyone an opportunity to go to the games, get tickets, go to the games, and the girls that chance. So I think it's a good initiative. It'll be a bit of a challenge, as I said, just coming back for 2 rounds, but it'll give us maybe a chance to stop and take stock of what you need to do in those 2 rounds. So for us, we don't see any real issues with it, but I think it's a very good initiative, as I said, that the league's putting in place.
For yourself, you're heading into your 4th year at the club. You spent some time in the reserves, but this is your 2nd year as a as a head coach for Metro United in the WNPL. It's also the second year that we've seen a 10-team competition. How have you found that change of having extra teams in the WNPL, and what do you believe about it bridging that gap between WNPL and WSL?
I think this year, I think it's been a very good initiative. It wasn't a good. I didn't enjoy playing teams 3 times when we had the 8 teams in there and played every team 3 times. Sorry. But the 10 teams is a great initiative again that the league's put in place, playing everyone home and away. Just once is good. I think this year the league will be a lot closer. Last year, there was a sort of a gap from the top sort of 6-7 teams down to the bottom 3 teams. But I think this year teams have recruited really well. I think state league clubs have recruited really well. They've had younger players that have been developing for 2 or 3 years, and they're starting to come through. So I think we'll see the WNPL a lot closer this season. I don't think we'll see a similar pattern of last season with West Adelaide running away with everything. Teams have recruited really well. We can see some of the results are interesting in the pre-season cup competition we've just had. So I'm looking forward to a lot closer league, a lot closer games. It'll be good. The initiative's growing well, and I think it'll only continue to enhance the competition, the 10 teams.
The competition will be starting out with a few of the big names not in the competition due to the A-League women finishing a little bit later this season. How do you believe this will change the way your club begins the campaign?
We need to start well. We've got our first 4 games. We've got SA NTC, Flinders, and West Adelaide, and that's we look at sort of blocks of 4 games, and those games will be. I think of those games, there'll only be West Adelaide would look to have A-League players coming back, but we believe or what we understand there's quite a few of players A-League players from last season that have moved on from certain clubs. I think they've gone across to Melbourne, certainly within a World Cup year. They're looking to enhance their opportunities and reputations. So we believe quite a number have moved across to Melbourne this year. So it has the clubs that had A-League players maybe not be as strong as they were last season. So I think, as I said, it'll make the competition a lot closer this year and give more clubs an opportunity to challenge.
And it will be a bit more of an exciting competition all round. But with yourself, what changes have you made to the club? And is there anyone in particular we should keep an eye out?
Yeah, for us, we've come sort of through a bit of a transition period. The last year, this year, we had a lot of players that had been with the club a long time. Very, very good players. They've moved on or retired from the game for certain reasons. So the last couple of years, we've moved on. There's an example of that from the side that won the league 3 years ago at Metro. We have 3 players left in our starting 11 and 4 left in our first team squad this season. So we've gone through quite a change. We've recruited well this year. We've brought players in from State League who I've watched over a season, giving them an opportunity to come from State League into Premier League, and they have fitted in very well and have quickly got up to the standard required to play at WNPL. A couple of those players, we've brought in Jasmine Biddle and Kirsten Pett from Modbury Jets from last season. They're very good. We've recruited back a couple of girls who took time away from the game. Mel Armstrong's come back into our squad, so we're looking very well. And within a couple of weeks, hopefully our American import, Hannah DeBose, will be here. We're looking forward to that. The club, and I think she'll make a big impact on the league this season.
This season is very exciting. The Women's World Cup arrives in July in Australia and in Adelaide as well. What are you looking forward to most about this tournament being here in Adelaide?
I think we've got a fantastic opportunity that the World Cup's come to Adelaide. We've got some great teams playing here. England, Brazil, China. They're teams that are playing here in Adelaide, and tickets are affordable, which is the main thing. I think that's a very good initiative that's happened by the FSA and FIFA. $30 for a ticket to go and watch England or Brazil play at Adelaide at Time Loss Stadiums is a fantastic opportunity for everybody to get tickets, but certainly for younger players. That to go and see the superstars of the game and of the world playing in Adelaide is fantastic.
It is, and I'm looking forward to going down to a few as well. But thank you so much for joining me, Paul, and all the best in your second season at Metro United.
No, thanks very much, Johnny.
That was
Appreciate it.
that was Paul Morris from Metro United. I'm with the head coach of the Football South Australia's NTC WNPL side, Michele Lastella. Thank you for joining me, Michele.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
It's a big year for the women's football in Australia. It's the World Cup year. We got the World Cup on our shores here in Australia and New Zealand, and South Australia is going to be host of 5 games. How big is this in your how big is this in your perspective for the game, and what legacy do you hope we can get out of it?
In terms of women's football, it's huge. So, and for South Australia, I think we really need to capitalise on it. So I know there's some things in place from Football SA and the legacy program where they're really trying to push women's football, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the games will be sold out.
I'm sure there will be. I think it's hard to get my hands on a few games, but it's very exciting. Sort of good buzz around it, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and I think we need to encourage as many people to support the Women's World Cup and obviously the Matildas as well.
With the World Cup, we got South Australia is one of the only ones that is breaking for 3 weeks during the tournament, which encourages the players to go out and support the World Cup. How have you perceived this new feature for the season?
Yeah, I think I recall the World Cup a few years ago. We actually broke for a month, and it was quite difficult in terms of the players because a lot of players weren't actually travelling away. But I know a lot of girls within our program actually travelling to Melbourne, Sydney, and that appreciate the time just to go watch the World Cup, because really, when are we ever going to get another World Cup on our shores? I'm not sure. It'll happen maybe for the next 20 to 30 years or maybe ever. I'm not too sure. So I think it's a good initiative to encourage players to go interstate and go watch as many games as they possibly can.
Last year, you were the coach of the year for the WNPL. This year is the second year that the Women's National Premier League is in South Australia is a 10-team competition. How do you feel about the change, and how would you say it's bridged the gap between WSL and WNPL?
I think the state league definitely for the women's is getting stronger each year, but it's also because a lot of younger players are actually obviously getting older and they're lifting the level of competition for the state league. So it's great to see the state league getting a little bit closer to the Premier League. It's still a little bit off, but that's perfectly understandable. So, and with the Premier League, I think the competition will be relatively even, although you always have, the top clubs like West Adelaide. Comets will be very, very strong this year. And then you've always got Adelaide City, and then I guess the others will be fighting for the 4th and 5th spot. You
guys are in a little bit of a different situation to other clubs, as you're in a program that brings in youth players into the system. With this season, the A-League starting finishing a little bit later than usual, which means some clubs are going to be without big name players are still playing for their A-League women clubs. How do you see your campaign starting off with these players out of the season?
Yeah, I think in terms of the A-League players playing for Adelaide United does disrupt some clubs that have 3 A-League players. So that's a little bit disruptive for them. In terms of our NTC program, it has the same effect because we've got a lot of young girls actually supporting Adelaide United in terms of with training spots or having scholarship spots. So we've actually got 4 players contracted at the moment, and we've got another 2 training. So it's good experience for them, but also, normally when you're a younger player, it's harder to get game minutes as you would see with the A-League. So we're looking forward to a time where the A-League is just the A-League, and the girls actually at Adelaide United get to compete in, more than 20 games a season of, let's say, A-League level. So you want them to be contracted for 10 months of the year. That's the only way they'll get better, instead of having to double up season after season within 1 year. So that's quite hard, I know, on the A-League girls having to do that, and they can stay at a consistent level. I think that's the most important thing, is staying at a consistent level. When they drop down to the Premier League, it's quite hard to adapt from going to a full-time professional environment to, a part-time semi-professional environment. It's quite difficult for, a lot of the senior players at Adelaide United. That's the hardest thing, I think, for the girls there.
with the NTC program, we see some great talent coming through there in Football South Australia. What's some of the players that we should keep a lookout for this season?
In terms of our program this year, we've actually promoted 10 girls, so it's a relatively young squad compared to last year and the year before potentially. So there's quite a few that are a year younger than what they should be, and they're really showing some great stuff in the pre-season. In terms of players' names, we've got Grace Wilson, who's also in Bishek at the moment with the 20s, so she'll be staying on next year. Who else is there? There's a few others like Claire Scarpin, who was our striker last year. She'll be staying on. And there's a couple young ones that I won't let their names out just yet, but I think a few teams will be surprised of just how good these girls are. They just will lack a bit of physicality, as we always do, and I guess the game management, the game smarts. I think they'll learn from the older girls as they play more games in the Premier League.
It sounds very exciting, your team this season heading into 2023, but this year is Women's World Cup year as well. It's going to be huge buzz around the women's game. Let's finish on the final question, which is, in July we've got the games coming to Adelaide. What are you looking forward to most about the tournament on our home soil?
I think I'm just looking forward to having the buzz around like Adelaide, like in terms of the Women's World Cup. And I don't actually know if the fan fest kind of situation, are they doing that in Adelaide as well? I read a little bit about that, but I'm not sure if that's happening in Adelaide or just in the eastern states. They are. So that'll be good as well, because I'm pretty sure the ticket's going to be sold out. So if you can't actually go to the game, you might as well go and watch with a bit of atmosphere. So hopefully it also pushes the women's game in Adelaide as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I can't wait to go to all that and to take it all in as well. So it's going to be a big year, mate, and congratulations again on being the Coach of the Year for 2022. And thanks for joining me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Michele Lastella from Football South Australia's NTC WNPL side. I'm here with Fulham United's Georgina Toome and Laura Niejalke. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having us today.
No worries, thank you.
This season's going to be a big year for women's football in general. It's the Women's World Cup on home soil. What do you think? I'll go with you, Laura, first. What do you think about the importance of this World Cup being on home soil is, and what legacy would you love to see the women's game get out of it?
Yeah, I think it's huge. It's awesome seeing all the girls getting around it, and women's football is really building at the moment, especially overseas. So it's great to have it here in Australia, where we can get lots of people around, filling out stadiums, and I think it's the legacy, I guess, is to just show that women's football can attract huge crowds and everyone loves it. It's
going to be good this season as well. It's a break, so everyone gets to go down and watch a few games while they're not having to play the WNPL. For yourself, Georgina, how do you feel about the 3-week break during the season?
I feel like it's a good opportunity to go and see the World Cup, especially because it's here. It'll be nice to be a part of it, see the games, and see all these players that we hear about playing in real life. And it's also probably a nice little reset, and then, get back, find what you want to do when you return, and go again for the rest of the season.
The WNPL season is another 10-team comp once again, for the second year. How do you feel the gap is between the two, Laura? The WNPL and WSL, do you think it's bridged the gap a little bit, being able to have 10 teams again?
Yeah, I think expanding the league was a great idea. It's awesome getting 2 extra teams to come up and play against, so we're not just playing the same teams over and over. It's getting more girls opportunities to play at a higher level. State league's really growing super well. They're bridging that gap really closely, and I think we'll keep expanding the leagues as we go.
This season, some WNPL clubs are going to be without the A-League women's players, because the A-League women will be finishing a bit later. How do you find that, Georgina, with some of these teams not having the A-League women players at the start of the season?
It's just one of those things that happens. I think that those girls can be really good for leadership and provide a bit of a challenge to play against them in the competition. But it's also a good opportunity for other players to step in and take their place and have a bit more game time. So, pros and cons, but it is what it is.
In your squad, who's someone we should look out for this season as well? Is there anyone in particular?
Oh, well, Laura's not here. I'm not going to skip over her.
Yeah, absolutely. George Toome every day.
Oh, that was a bit easy one for you guys. But let's talk about this one. This one, you don't have to be biased at all. But what's the thing you're looking forward to most this year with the Women's World Cup coming in July? What's one thing you cannot wait for?
just all the excitement around football and for everyone to be talking about it and for it to be a real big community event.
And what about yourself, Laura?
Yeah, similar. Just to see so many people coming in to enjoy the sport. We all love playing and getting around the women's football and supporting often girls that we even know personally. So yeah, super excited for that.
It's going to be a big year. Thanks again for joining me and good luck for 2023.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
That was Georgina, Toome and Laura Niejalke. That's all for the WNPL preview with the clubs. I hope you enjoyed all 3 parts of this preview and look forward to more women's football in 2023. That was Paul Morris, Georgina Toome and Laura Niejalke, Michele Lastella and Tony Scalzi and Nicole Calder. Thanks for tuning in to WNPL preview with the clubs, only on Kicking It Local. Make sure you subscribe to Kicking It Local wherever you get your podcasts so you can get a taste of the SA football community. Plus, follow @KickingItLocalSA on Instagram and Twitter so you don't miss any of the action. See you soon!